right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 750 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. Breaking news from yesterday: Raheem Morris returns to Atlanta. He's our new head coach. A lot of mixed reviews. Mostly the players love him. Some of the fans don't love the hire. I'm a little bit in the middle. I'm kind of leaning towards a no, but once again, I'm rocking with it. I'm not necessarily against it, but I do have my concerns. We're going to figure out who Raheem Morris is because he's been here before. He's done a lot of things. He has a lot of experience under his belt. And I don't know how that's going to resonate with the experience plus players like him. I don't know how to feel about that. But nevertheless, we're going to talk about his history, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions before we get up out of here. So if this is your first time here, I welcome you. If you don't mind, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. If you're watching this on Rumble, hit the join button. If you're listening to this on YouTube, on Rumble, you can watch the podcast. I am on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. And if you want to listen to any of those avenues, you're more than welcome to subscribe to any of those or follow me on any of those avenues so you can listen to the show at your leisure. I can be found on X at VF Baller. The website is firstandframerates.com. And if you want to support the show, CashApp and PayPal links are below. Let's go ahead and get straight into this. Who is our coach? Who's the coach? Who is Atlanta Falcons head coach? Raheem Morris. He started out, well, he's been in the NFL for over 20 years now. I mean, that's actually impressive. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was around that long. He just crossed my mind when he was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach, and he ended up being the interim head coach that one time in Atlanta as well. But he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they won the Super Bowl back in 2002. It was under Monty Kiffin back then as the defensive quality control coach. He was a defensive assistant the following year, and he was the assistant defensive back coach up until 2005. Went to K-State in 2006 as a defensive coordinator. Went back to the Buccaneers in 2007, 2008 as the defensive back coach, and he became the head coach in 2009 to 2011. After that, he left and went to the Washington Redskins as a defensive back coach, and this is pretty important. This is where he was under Kyle Shanahan and the Shanahan tree. Not Kyle Shanahan, but, the father, Shanahan. And Kyle Shanahan ends up coming to the Falcons, and he came right along. And he was the assistant head coach and passing game coordinator under Dan Quinn and under Kyle Shanahan. After Dan Quinn was fired in 2019, because he was there from 2015 to 2019. In 2019, he jumped over to the wide receivers coach. So he was not only just, defensive guy, he has also been on the offensive side of the ball as a pass game coordinator and wide receivers coach. And really interesting. But in 2019, he jumps back as the defensive coordinator, and he was the interim head coach after Dan Quinn was fired. And in 2021, when we did have a chance to get him for him to stay as the interim head coach, he jumps over to the Los Angeles Rams under Sean McVay as the defensive coordinator, which the defense did actually pretty good. Their defense was pretty good down the stretch, got them into the playoffs and all the other stuff. Now, you got to run down to who he was. So for 22 years, he's been in the NFL with, some pretty decent teams, won 2 Super Bowls as a coach, and his regular season head coaching record is not good. I mean, 21-38 is not the best, and it calls for pause. It makes you want to think, all right, even when he was with the Falcons, he was 4-7 as interim coach, which he necessarily was, it really wasn't the best situation at the time. And he ended up in the second season of the Buccaneers. I'm looking at it right now. He started 0-7 in the first year, but the second season they ended up going 10-6, which is, really cool. A 7-game turnaround after going 3-13, and pretty impressive. But after that, he end up moving. Let's see, end of 2011 season against Carolina Panthers. Yada yada yada. He was fired in January 2nd, 2012, after a 4-12 season, losing their last 10 games. So, as a head coach, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, and I'm trying to figure out, once you had that experience, which was a while back. I mean, you gotta understand that was what, almost 12 years ago, and you come in and you are the Falcons wide receivers coach, defensive coordinator, and that was a time we went to the Super Bowl. You know what happened there, but he goes out to Los Angeles and resurrect his career after being I ain't gonna say resurrect his career, but after being an interim head coach, he leaves and becomes the defensive coordinator, and they won the Super Bowl down, against the Cincinnati Bengals. So I'm looking at this like, what do you get here? I mean, what do you get here? I mean, you had one winning season as a coach. The interim head coach, I don't really hold that against him, but is this the second time that he comes around to do something, prominent? Has he learned from where he was? Has he evolved? Has he's gotten better? What are we getting here? Because from what this resume says, like, you got a guy with a lot of experience. The players like playing for him. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because players did like playing for Dan Quinn. Some players did like playing for Arthur Smith. Does he have the approach to be a winner? Are we going to be a winning team with what you have at head coach? What offensive coordinator he's going to bring in? And you got to know defensively, if he does anything even close to what the Rams did, we're going to be fine defensively. It was already like a top 10, top 12 defense, and the Rams was basically, a top 8, top 7 defense. So I'm not worried about the defense. Offensively, what are you bringing to the table? Who's going to be your offensive coordinator? Are you going to go after a quarterback? Which quarterback are you going to go after? Because that's what's going to really matter at this point. We already know this team is not in disarray. There's not like a lot of pieces are missing on this team. You get a quarterback in, you win a division. I mean, you win a division with a quarterback. I mean, we were one game away basically from winning the division this year with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. You go get a Jaden Daniels and a good offensive coordinator. You go get Caleb Williams, like the person I really want is Caleb Williams. You go get Caleb Williams and a good offensive coordinator. You're cooking with grease. So that's what I would like to see. I want to see something like that. That's the only way that I know I will start having confidence in what we're doing as a head with Raheem Morris as head coach. As of right now, everything is still on the surface. I don't know what are we doing here. What are we doing here right now? It's like you bring in a retread, and I'm not like saying it in a negative fashion, but I'm just looking at what I have in front of me. I'm like, yeah, something can happen here. I'm not going to sit here and say that this is a situation where we're going to be, on a treadmill, not going forward, and still have 8 and 9 win seasons. You still have a very good chance to be a 10-11 win season. You get the right quarterback and the right offensive coordinator here, you're good. But we don't have that now. So right now I'm like, I don't know what it is. So with that being said, the person that we have, I will give this on a scale of 1 to 10. I will give this hire a 6, maybe a 5. And I'm leaning towards a 6. I'm more like, I don't like the pick because I had my personal, pick that I wanted as a coach, but I'm not against the pick either. It's like more, I get it. Familiarity, you know that the offense is not going to be tampered with like it was with Coach Arthur Smith. You're going to be all right as far as who does what. Terry Fontenot's job is safe. You know what I mean? The offensive coordinator is going to be good. Well, if you get a good offensive coordinator, their position is going to be good. You don't have to worry about that person calling plays. Defensively, does Raheem Morris call plays, or does he bring one of the linebackers coach to be a defensive coordinator? Do you bring a defensive line coach to be a coordinator? What do you bring to the table where he can just be the coach and everybody else, do their job and go from there? How does that work? So that's what I'm really worried about, because as of right now, I'm like, okay, this is a 6 out of 10 hire, 5 out of 10 hire. I didn't really want this hire. I wasn't even thinking about it, to be honest, but I'm not against it. I mean, to be honest, I kind of like him better than Belichick, and that's not because I think he's better than Belichick. I just don't want my team being overran by a guy, that there's no guarantee that you're going to win anything with him. Even with all the Super Bowls he had, you just don't know. At least with Raheem Morris, everybody is still going to be in place. The GM, the OC, the quarterback's coach, whoever you bring in is going to be all right. And that's the main thing about it. You want everybody to do their job and be in place, and nobody feels like they're overbearing to other positions or other people. So that's where I stand at. Let me know what you guys think. If you like this commentary, the like button, share this podcast. Like I said, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subscribe or join me on Rumble. I'm also on YouTube. If you want to watch the podcast, it's on Rumble. Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts are all the other places where this podcast is at. I could be also found on X at VF Baller. The website is firstandframerates.com. If you want to donate to the show, Cash App and PayPal links are below. I really appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys on the next one. You guys enjoy your weekend. We may talk more in depth about this throughout the weekend, and we'll see. Even if more things come out, we'll discuss those as well. All right, y'all. I'll see you then. You guys take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.